All right, Christopher MG from the Bloomington Chamber of Commerce. We're winding down our STEM career fair today from the Success School. And we have Geng Wang from Civic Champs is going to join us, a local entity that does apps and technology. Geng, you want to just talk about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Geng Wang, and it's easier to remember. It's pronounced like gung ho. And so I'm the CEO and co-founder here of Civic Champs, or I guess on my t-shirt here, you can see. So we're based here in Bloomington. And basically what we do is we provide software for nonprofits to help them manage their volunteers. And so if you think about from registering to checking in to, signing in and tracking your hours to, engaging with volunteers at the end, all of that is super manual today, right? Like there's the paper sign-in sheets, there's the paper waiver forms. If you're a student, you're asking for folks to sign and approve your hours, to share with your teachers, et cetera, right? And so we want to automate as much as that as possible so that people can get back to doing more good.
So how did this idea come about? Was it you volunteering and looking at paperwork, or give us a little sense of what?
Yeah.
And then what did it take to have a small place at the mill where you're doing our volunteer management here at the Success School?
Sure. So we started, so it's a little random, right? But I was working on, they call it the corporate social responsibility program, but basically the idea is helping a company do volunteering in the community, right? And so volunteering was top of mind for me. And at the time I had a friend who asked if I wanted to try out Pokemon Go. And so I did. And I thought, hey, what a great game in that it actually allows you to go explore outdoors and is kind of healthy. And the original idea for Civic Champs actually was to create a mobile game. And what we wanted to do was create a mobile game that was fun, but allows you to do sort of volunteering activities at the same time. So an example would be the city of Bloomington doesn't have a map, a digital map of all its fire hydrants and when, and all the sort of valves related to the fire hydrant. So when someone shows up, when there's a fire, it's hard sometimes for them to know exactly where are the gauges and the valves that they need to get to. And so, but you and I could actually take pictures, upload it to the internet, and help them solve that problem. And so we started with that idea. We talked to a lot of nonprofits, and then that's when we pivoted because we've realized, everything I said earlier, which is how much work it takes to actually manage all of those volunteers. And we said, is there a way for us to actually use some of the tech that we're thinking about for the game, but apply it in this world where, basically what we do is we create like a geofence as an example around volunteer sites. So when you show up, it's like, bing, Chris, are you here to volunteer today at Habitat? You're like, yes. Super easy, simple. All the data is super clean. It allows you to also say thank you to the volunteers, right? All of that kind of stuff.
And so what we do here at the Success School now is we have an iPad that I bring about, and we can just they check in, sort of just push a button. We let them check in, check out, and then we get a little bit of feedback from them right away. It's a really useful tool.
Yeah.
So Geng, give a little bit of your history on sort of apps and technology, because it's a good one. And what goes into that? Because there's going to be a lot of people here that are going to be interested in, creating their own apps, creating their own games, and a little bit of what goes into that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the exciting thing is it's now easier than ever, right? To start your own company, to start a technology company, make your own apps. And so my story, right? This is my third startup company. My first one was called Rent Jungle. It's a apartment search engine. So basically think of it as the Google for apartment search, right? And then a second one that did social media management. And so we posted for, hundreds of local businesses on, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, et cetera, right? And then this is my third company, right? And so for me, I think, a lot of times for students, especially when they think about a tech startup, the first thing you sort of sometimes get tripped up about is like, I don't know how to code something right away, right? And I feel like I need to know how to do computer programming, and that certainly helps. But you can actually get started from a business standpoint without any coding at all, right? All you have to do is think about, well, what is it that I want the users or customers to do? And can I sort of fake it till I make it, right? Or can I manually do what I want the app to do before getting started? So an example of that is, my favorite case study is there's a company called Rent the Runway. And so what they do is they do rental dresses for women and girls for big galas and stuff, right? And so huge business today, but where they started was they just literally borrowed dresses from their friends, etc. They brought them into a classroom because they're at school at the time, and they said, "Hey, let's see if anyone's actually willing to rent dresses, right? Second time." And then from there, they said, "Okay, we know that works. Next, instead of bringing the dresses, we're going to have a catalog, like a paper catalog, right? But we're still going to talk to them and so see if that still works." Then they moved it online and they say, "Hey, we're just going to have, a gallery, right? Pretty simple stuff, just a simple website. You can do it for free on any one of the free website builders." And they just sort of slowly built from there, right? And I think that's one of the things I think is really exciting is for a startup, you don't have to have the tech right away. You can sort of work your way into it.
Which is like I was just talking with a family, friends of mine. We both have children the same age, and they needed dress clothes for a wedding.
Yep.
And spending a lot of money for a 6-year-old instead. What they do? Rented it.
Yep.
In one of these little apps, and I was like, I'd never heard of them. It makes perfect sense.
Right.
So what's your entrepreneur spirit that kind of allowed this to blossom the way it is, and what sort of qualities does that take? I imagine perseverance, but what else?
Yeah, I think that's a tough question. I think you have to really be excited about what you're doing. I think that's first and foremost is when people see you're excited about what you're building, they will naturally gravitate towards you, right? And they say, "Oh wow, this person, I just want to support you because you feel so passionate about what it is that you're doing." It doesn't even really matter what it is. But I think that's probably the first ingredient for being an entrepreneur. Beyond that, I mean, there are certain elements to entrepreneurship, right? Financially, right? So either you have some savings that you don't have to pay yourself a salary, so having some of that. You have parents or a spouse, in my case, right, who have a job and are able to support you while you're sort of getting started. And so, yeah, I don't want to discount that piece of it too. But those those are some of the ingredients, and then of course having really nice mentors and advisors. And there's so many people that have done this already and have made so many mistakes, right? Why try to do it yourself and make the same mistakes when someone can tell you and guide you along the way? And so if you're thinking about it, whatever it is in life, really, right, try to find someone that's already been there before. And people are always happy to help, right? That's what I found. And so just don't be shy to ask for it.
And let's go back to Civic Champs. Your current office is at the Dimension Mill, and just called the Mill here in town. It's a business accelerator. Give us a little sense of that, the opportunities there, and just a little bit about the scene at the Dimension Mill.
Sure. Yeah, the Mill is a beautiful space. First of all, and so if as a student, even if you've never been, I super encourage people to visit. It's right across the street from Upland, the restaurant, and basically it's a space where you have little offices around the edge for startup companies. So there's several of us there. And then you have this in this middle, sort of this co-working space. So lots of people that, especially now, are working remote, maybe for large companies, but really want a space where they can still be with other people, right? And it's a little bit more fun to work in that environment. They have a nice kitchen, free coffee, all of those things. But yeah, it's lots of natural light. It's brand new, so it's very cool. It's got a podcast space if people are into doing podcasts, all of that kind of stuff.
And so, anything else you want to say about Civic Champs, or is there another idea that it's bubbling in your head that you might go to next?
No, I mean, most of my ideas around are how do we take Civic Champs to the next level,
Okay.
right? And so right now, we're really focused on helping the nonprofits. Right, with checking in and raising money through donations or all of that. I think the next phase for us, and maybe more exciting for students, right, is that we want to make the app more exciting. Coming back to the game idea that we had, right? How do we make Civic Champs more interesting, exciting for volunteers? Adding social features, chat, maybe some gamification. And so that's a little bit of what we're thinking about right now.
Well, wonderful. Thank you very much. Geng, Civic Champs, and they can just Google that. That'll come right up, I believe.
Yeah, you can look on the App Store, download, check it out. Yeah, go volunteer.
And thank everybody for joining us today for the 2021 STEM Career Fair. Oh, here we go. Thank you, and we'll catch you next time.